What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Field. I'm Alex Funderburke. I'm tired. The Super Bowl was yesterday. It was a blowout, something I did not see coming. But we're going to talk about that with Kennedy and Jeffrey. And then later on, we're going to talk some baseball, some NBA with Take Me Out to the podcast host Johnny Jackson and our boy Ross. It's going to be a great show. Hitting the Field starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Field. I'm your host, Alex Funderburke, and it's the day after the Super Bowl. And I got with me today Kennedy and Jeffrey. Kennedy, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right after last night. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm tired, but we're surviving, and we're going through it. But the Chiefs made me really disappointed, but we're okay. Jeffrey, how are you?
Man, I'm excited to talk some Super Bowl. It was a very entailing game of who's really going to be dominant on the defensive side, and we really saw it last night.
Yeah, and that's what I want to jump into right away. Kennedy, what were your takeaways from the Super Bowl? I mean, the Chiefs didn't score a single touchdown. It was 31-9. I mean, what did you think watching that game?
I mean, I feel like I was thinking the same thing everyone else was thinking, like, where were the Chiefs offense? We didn't see any of it that we're used to or that we even thought would come out. I have to give it to the Buccaneers. They played phenomenal defense. We talked about it last week. The only way that they were going to have a chance in this game is if they played really aggressive defense and just stayed on Mahomes, and just their ability to just cut off the field for him and make him scramble and lose yards to the point where he's just throwing anything was just really, you can't argue with it. And then of course, Tom Brady, he just showed why he's Tom Brady, why he does what he does, and why he is the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, the most memorable plays from that game were incompletions by Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that one where he was like completely parallel with the ground and threw a 30-yard dot right to his wide receiver, hit him in the face, and he still dropped it. Like, that's the play of the Super Bowl, and it was an incompletion. Like, it feels really weird to say that. But Jeffrey, what were some of your takeaways from the game?
I just felt like the Chiefs receiver corps never really showed up. And at the end of the day, I felt like Patrick Mahomes really looked like Patrick Mahomes. He was out there doing Patrick Mahomes type of things, just running around. I mean, there's a statistic that he was running around 79% of the time, and that's like one of the highest percentages you can see in Super Bowl history. That is that, the offensive line didn't help him, the receiver corps didn't really help him. Kelsey had a nice game, but Hill was limited to only 73 yards, 7 receptions on 10 targets. I mean, in a Super Bowl, you just need to play better, and I feel like the receiver corps and the offensive line were definitely lacking for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
There was an interesting stat that I saw this morning that said Mahomes scrambled for 425 yards, like in the backfield. And that was not including his rushing stats from that game. So he was running around 425 yards and only got sacked 3 times. So like, he was making plays, but like you said, his wide receiver corps never really showed up. So Jeffrey, I'm gonna come back to you. Is that who you pin this loss on, or who else do you pin this on?
I pin it on them, and I also pin it on the cornerbacks for the Chiefs, especially Antonio Hamilton. And there was a key play where it was before Gronkowski's second score touchdown, where he caused an offsides that allowed them to go, 5 yards forward. Maybe Brady couldn't convert, and maybe they, kick the field goal. But instead, they get the 5-yard penalty. They go forward, and then he throws it right to Gronkowski, get his second touchdown, and Brady's feeling himself. And maybe that's the game changer. Maybe if Antonio Hamilton doesn't go offsides, then maybe it's a different game.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was definitely it felt like a momentum swing play right there. Kennedy, who do you pin this loss on if you're the Chiefs?
If I'm being honest, I just feel as if the Chiefs have never had a competition like this entire season. I mean, of course, they lose to the Raiders, and they also lose to the Chargers this season, but they've never played a team that's played defensively like this. And I don't think that they expected the Bucks to come out like this at all. Even though Kelsey has 133 yards, he still dropped some really crucial passes that could have changed the entire game. So I don't think anyone on their offense really stepped up. I think Mahomes was pressured and he did what he could with what he was given. But I mean, overall, we didn't really see anything from their offense. We didn't see the run game like we're used to seeing it. We didn't see Tyreek Hill. We didn't see a lot of people that we're used to calling out. So I think overall, the offense didn't show up at all. But at the same time, they weren't prepared for what the Bucks are coming out with. And we have to give it to the Bucks defense.
For sure. And if I'm the Chiefs, I think I'm putting this on the O-line because it felt like as soon as the ball was snapped, someone was in Mahomes' face and he was running around just trying to get free. But there was a couple plays in the first half where Mahomes had Hardman open and Hardman just wasn't looking at the ball and the ball just went right past his head both times. So like if Hardman's looking, and it was the first drives for the first drive on third down for the Chiefs was when the first time it happened. And like if he caught that ball, it's probably a touchdown. He was behind both DBs if he just turned his head and looked. But and who knows? He catches that, it's a different game. But it was a crazy game. But I want to shift to a more wider scope. This is Brady's 7th ring. We know he's the GOAT in the NFL, but can you call him the greatest athlete ever, Kennedy?
I think he's one of the greatest athletes ever. To say that he is the greatest, I have never believed in saying the greatest because I believe that everyone contributes to each sport differently and that we're always going to be arguing this with time to come. But he's definitely one of the greatest athletes for sure. I mean, look at his tenure with the Patriots and then to come and do it with the Bucks. And you have an underrated team because I did not see the Bucks coming here and I did not see the Bucks playing as well as they did in this game. So I think with what he's doing, not just for his age, because he's been doing this since he was younger, I think he's just one of the greatest athletes of all time. Maybe not the greatest, because like I said, I don't believe in the greatest, but definitely one of the greatest athletes ever that we're ever going to see play this game, and definitely one of the best we're ever going to see play sports in general.
Jeffrey, is he the greatest athlete ever?
As Kennedy said, you cannot just pinpoint one as the GOAT because there are too many greats in the world of sports. And all I got to say about Tom Brady, it's just insane how you can leave your organization of how many years since 2000, go to Tampa Bay to 2020 and have a QB rating of 102.2 at this age. It's insane. And you're seeing with Aaron Rodgers even, and he can even get up into that status if he can get himself into another Super Bowl. But it's just insane to see that Tom Brady is, up here at this age and doing it. It really pinpoints his commitment to success of his body with this TB12, brand.
Yeah, no, for sure. Him being 43 and still doing this is absolutely insane. But I have a GOAT, unlike you guys. I have a GOAT, and that's Serena Williams. I think it's Serena. I think it has to be. I mean, 23 major titles, like that's insane. And she's 39. She won the Australian Open a few years ago while pregnant. Like, that's the GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. That's the GOAT. For me, it's her or Michael Jordan. And then you could put Brady 3. I'm not mad at it. But shifting to the other quarterback, I've seen a lot of hot takes on Twitter, and I want to get your opinion. Some people on Twitter think Mahomes will not be able to win another Super Bowl, which seems crazy to me. But Jeffrey, what do you think? Can Mahomes win another Super Bowl?
I understand why, because behind us is the AFC. The AFC is getting stronger and stronger. And with this new era of quarterbacks with Lamar, Baker Mayfield, maybe even if Josh Allen's in that conversation, he's even above that conversation, but still it's really compelling to see the AFC North and like all these AFC divisions come together and like really collectively become stronger than NFC at the end of the day. And even though AFC is not on top in the Super Bowl, that's why they're believing that, the Chiefs aren't going to, make that next step. But Patrick Mahomes is too great to defy. So got to watch out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Kennedy, what about you? Do you think Mahomes can win another Super Bowl?
I definitely do. I mean, we've seen what Patrick Mahomes can do completely healthy and battling through injuries. So I'm sure that he's going to make it another year. I think this game really showed he's still young. I mean, you can't expect him to go against someone who has the most Super Bowl appearances in all of the NFL and decide, okay, well, he's not performing as well. I mean, it's a given. He's only been here one time, and I think the Chiefs are looking at him like, we gave you 500 million for 10 years. We're hoping that
Yeah.
you'll be in the Super Bowl for another year. We're not going to cut you here, but I think he's definitely going to be there. I think they're going to continue to build pieces around him that are going to continue to build this offense. I think we're not going to see the last of this offense, and we're not going to see the last of the Chiefs. But I do think there are other teams in the AFC that are stepping up and definitely showing that younger quarterbacks are taking over. Baker Mayfield is definitely going to come back stronger with the Browns. Josh Allen's going to do the same with the Bills. But I think we're definitely going to see Mahomes back in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, that was my biggest thing is there was also people on Twitter in the game who were saying like, see, this is why he's not worth $500 million. I was like, if anything, he's showing why he is. He's running backwards 30 yards and dotting his wide receivers. It's just bouncing off their helmets. Like, if anything, he's 100% worth it because I don't know another person that can make a play like that. But it's just insane to me that the defense of the Bucks played that well. I think we all knew that they have a good defense and that they might be able to slow Mahomes down, but they stopped that offense completely. Jeffrey, did you see that coming at all?
No, not at all. And like coming into this game, you look at Patrick Mahomes' stats. He's 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and the safeties of the Bucks have really stepped up in a sense. But the corners, Jamel Dean, they really solidify themselves. But you're like, will Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce really break loose? And you come into this game and Patrick Mahomes has really diced up all the defenses he's played. You know, everyone's like, oh, they lost one game, but you know, he wasn't even in that game. And it's just like he's undefeated in this whole season. He's coming in so hot. It was really surprising to see the corners step up to some of these speedy wide receivers like McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill.
Hey, Kennedy, did you see this defense performing as well as they did?
I mean, we talked about, you know, the defense had to have a great game, but at the same time, I did not see them playing as well as they did. We talked about Devin White and if he would be MVP if he had a perfect game, and I think really he had a perfect game. He was beating the entire line to Mahomes, and then of course that interception at the end really just topped it off for him. And of course Winfield with the interception as well. So I think overall their entire defense just made it completely impossible for the Chiefs to get any type of momentum. I think we were hoping within the second half that they would kind of figure out what type of pressure they're running, what type of coverage they have in the backfield, but they weren't able to do anything. So I think really we're just seeing the defense had a really great game. I was not expecting them to play that well. I did not see Bucks defense ever playing that well, but I think they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and I think they played really well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you got to give props to Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator, man. I mean, he schemed an incredible defense that I mean, you held the best quarterback I've ever seen play to no touchdowns. I mean, that's insane. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but after the game in the press conferences, Byron Leftwich was up to the media, the Bucks offensive coordinator, and they thought he was Todd Bowles. Like a media member asked him questions as if he was Todd Bowles. And Byron Leftwich was like, bro, you have the wrong guy. That's Todd. But that was funny. But Jeffrey, I want to get your way too early Super Bowl prediction for next season. Are your Browns going to make it?
I believe you make it to the AFC Championship. I'm not going to be bold, but I do believe Patrick Mahomes will be back. I mean, like I said, they only lost one game. He wasn't even playing in it. They had one of the hottest seasons. If it wasn't for Kevin Stefanski taking us to the playoffs, Andy Reid would have been coach of the year. They had a really flawless season, and I think they're going to bolster their O-line. And I also think that they're going to match up at the end of the day against an NFC opponent, maybe like the Packers again, because Aaron Rodgers definitely wants to come back for vengeance one more time just to see if he can at least get, you know, another weapon or two just to bolster his offense. So I think at the end of the day, we're going to see another Packers, you know, Chiefs lineup. And I said this at the end of the season in HDF is that the Bucks were going to make the Super Bowl, and it was great seeing it happen. You know, it was great seeing it happen.
Hey, that was a good call. I did not see it coming at all. That's for sure. Kennedy, a way too early Super Bowl prediction. Who you got?
Well, I need Jeffrey to start manifesting stuff for me because I definitely did not see that coming. I mean, I definitely see Mahomes making it back if they have the type of season that they did this year. We've seen a lot of teams, like I said, this is a difficult season because of COVID and because of the stops, and people can't play because they've tested positive and just so many things. So I think next season, once everything's straightened out, I think it's going to be a better season for the AFC. We could see the Browns here. We could see the Bills here. I mean, the Bills had a really great run this year. As far as the NFC, I don't know if I see Tom Brady coming back with the Bucks. I don't really know if their offense can really hold up that much, and I don't think their defense is going to be able to play like they did in this game every game in the season. I think with the Packers, it's possible. I think I've never really been too impressed with their offense, only because I felt like they could have built a better offense around Aaron Rodgers and still have not. So I'm very interested to see what they do in the offseason and what type of players they bring in with the draft and what kind of trades are made. But I think we're definitely going to see probably someone different come out of the NFC for the AFC. Right now, I'm going to stick with Mahomes. I think after this loss, he's going to come back. He has the offense that he needs. No matter who they bring, who they replace, they're going to have a great offense. So I think we're going to see Mahomes, but as far as NFC, it's kind of early to tell.
I'm with you. I'm with both of you guys. I think we're gonna get Mahomes back, and I'm gonna go with Jeffrey. I think we're gonna get the Packers in the NFC, and it'll be a Super Bowl one. Yeah, the first ever Super Bowl. It'll be a rematch of the first ever Super Bowl, and I'm gonna go with Mahomes. I think they're gonna bolster their O-line, like Jeffrey said. They're gonna fix their problems, and Andy Reid is an evil genius with what he draws up. So they'll be back. Mahomes is still Mahomes. Like, I don't know why people are sleeping on him now that he lost, but it is what it is. He lost, and but they'll be back next year. That's all the time we have for today. Come back with us. Stick with us. We're going to come right back. We're going to have some baseball, NBA talk with Johnny and Ross. Stay with us.
I'm in charge of the meeting this week. So you know what we're going to talk about? Basketball. The second thing we're going to talk about this week is basketball. Okay? And the third and last thing we're going to talk about is basketball.
Yeah. God, yeah. It's ridiculous. I want to quit. Can I quit? Take that.
Look at the screen. What are we talking about this week?
Basketball.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm now joined by Johnny and Ross. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, a little bit of a change of scenery today. Different room in the house. Living room is currently being taken up, but I'm happy to be here. Happy to clown on Ross, and happy for Ross to clown on me.
Hey, I'm with it. Ross, how are you doing?
Good. I had to change the scenery too. I saw my girls on deck show and I feel like my lighting was not there. I felt very insecure about it. So I moved my entire desk out from where it needs to be. And hopefully the natural lighting, that's what my friend told me to use, is working. And my Super Bowl pick was so wrong. My friends word for word said, "Yo, who are you picking?" I said, "I'm picking the Chiefs." They're like, "All right, we could put 100 on Tampa. This is easy dub." And then they got blown out. So another chance to clown on Ross. But yeah, hopefully get some jokes off on Johnny today.
Yeah, no, my pick was terrible also. I don't blame you there. But I want to jump in with baseball. Johnny Jackson's Dodgers paid Trevor Bauer a whole lot of money. He signed with the Dodgers a 3-year, $102 million deal, $40 million in year one, $45 in year two, and he has opt-outs after each year. Johnny, did they overpay for Trevor Bauer?
So I'm inclined to say yes, but it is a very similar deal to what the Dodgers originally did offer Bryce Harper. Not saying that Trevor Bauer and Bryce Harper are the same caliber of player. They're not. But we've seen Trevor Bauer at his best in 2018 and 2020. And we've seen him at his worst in 2019. His floor is, I think, like a league average pitcher. And if that is your worst case scenario, that's a pretty good arm to have, because he doesn't need to be, the guy who throws game 7, game 1, game 4, game 7. You got Walker Buehler, you've got Clayton Kershaw, you've got David Price still there, you've got Gonsolin, Julio, and Dustin May from a World Series roster. That's just such a better pitching staff. And adding Trevor Bauer, The cheating, the using foreign substances. No one cares. Everyone does it. Upped his spin rate, and he was good. He literally the only runs he allowed, even in that bandbox of a Red Stadium last year, were on homers. And Dodger Stadium's a pitcher's park, so if he throws anywhere close to that level that he did last year in Dodger Stadium, he's gonna have a sub-3 ERA. He's could contend for the Cy Young, and with opt-outs every single year, it's essentially a 1-year deal every single year. That's probably his like semantics deal for why he doesn't have to get shot with a paintball gun. Uh, yes, they probably overpaid a little bit, but like I'm still here for it as a Dodgers fan.
Hey, that's fair. And Ross, I don't know if you heard, but Trevor Bauer made a deal with his friend and said, if I sign something that's longer than a 1-year deal, you get to shoot me in the nuts with a paintball gun. So Ross, would you ever?
Yeah. I was wondering where that was coming from.
Yeah, would you ever make a deal like that where you have to get shot in the nuts over a contract?
I don't know. I've lived 21 years of my life without getting shot in the nuts with a paintball gun, and I think I can make it another 20 years doing it. In about 22 years, I might change my tone, and also if it's for a couple $1 million contract, that would change it. But I think just for basic satisfaction of my friend, I might not do it. I think that's where I'd go with that.
For $102 million, I might do it.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah. Johnny, I want to come back to you. Our good friend Bob Nightingale kind of broke all Mets fans' hearts by saying Trevor Bauer signed with the Mets, only to come out 24 hours that he was wrong. How does Bob Nightingale still have a job?
So my like underground hot take or whatever. Who does he work for? He works for USA Today, right?
Yeah.
So A, he's a name, he gets brand recognition, right? B, part of me thinks, I have no evidence, no reason to think this, disclaimer, this is not financial advice, but Bob Nightingale, whenever he makes a take, right? If it's right, it gets a bunch of views, bunch of likes because like, oh my gosh, this like goober is right for once. And if he's wrong, it's like, oh, this bum never gets anything right. And you see Starting Nine made a post about it. All these baseball writers do a little tweet about it. He gets clicks. And unfortunately, in the landscape we're in, if you get clicks, even if you're awful at your job, if you get clicks, look at the one guy that Freezing Cold Takes said they like wouldn't retweet anything from. His name's not coming on top of my head. But like, if you get clicks, you are going to have a job. Your reputation will be shot. His credibility is shot, but he has a job and he's going to make the USA Today money.
Yeah, no, and he was wrong about that. He was also wrong about Ozuna going back to the Braves. I mean, he had a rough week.
I mean, so is Dan Clark about Machado. I mean,
yeah, he's a character. But I want to kind of shift focus and talk about the best rotations in the league. Now, Johnny, they add Bauer. The Dodgers add Bauer. They're up there with the Padres. They have a good rotation. The White Sox have a good rotation. Now, there's a couple really, really good pitching rotations. The Mets are there. The Yankees, if it all goes right, are there. Who right now would you say is the best rotation in baseball?
So this is going to be another homer pick, but I do think it's for the 2021 season. Just that's it.
Yep.
It's the Dodgers. If Mike Clevenger was like healthy and there, and we also knew we could rely on Dinelson Lamet to throw 180, 200 innings, I would say it's the Padres. But no Clevenger. You have no idea if Chris Paddock's going to be good or not. You just have no clue. I think it's the Dodgers. They have two of the best pitchers in baseball in Buehler and Kershaw. Kershaw, no doubt Hall of Famer. Buehler is hopefully going to win a Cy Young one day if he's on this track. Big game pitcher, absolutely, just massive everything. Trevor Bauer, even if Trevor Bauer is like on the lower side of Trevor Bauer, he's an above average pitcher. He's got great stuff, above average pitcher. That's fine. Plus, you got David Price, been there, done that. Julio, who's absolutely disgusting, ran through the playoffs, except for like 2 home runs against Tampa. No one cares. Tampa lost. You got Dustin May, who's throwing 101-mile-an-hour sinkers. Like it's nobody's business. You got Gonsolin, Baseball America's Rookie of the Year. Do I know how that happened? Absolutely not. Am I here for it? Absolutely yes. The Padres are good, but like Dinelson Lamet's not a question mark in how good he is. It's a question mark of how much volume that the Padres will allow him to have coming off of a couple of really big injuries. Darvish is nasty. He's always going to be nasty. Big U Darvish guy. Huge U Darvish guy. I love you, Darvish, even though you told Dave Roberts not to start you in game 7, and he started you. That is not on you. That is on Dave Roberts. Okay. Chris Paddock, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Blake Snell, nasty. Even his volume, like the Padres from innings 1 through 5, 1 through like 4, 1 through 5 are going to have the best probably pitching stats in baseball. 6 through 9, 5 through 9. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. Ross, are you going with the Dodgers as well?
Got to go with the Dodgers. Probably one of the best rotations in baseball, and at this point, you can just count on them to be great. And it seems like ever since Magic Johnson took over his owner, they've just been investing so much money that it's hard to bet against them at this point. So I'd have to agree with the Dodgers, although I do hate saying that because I don't like to agree with anything Johnny Jackson says. I'm not rooting for the Dodgers only because he's a fan of them, but they're obviously an amazing team.
You know, that's I'm going to be different just because I don't like agreeing with Johnny. If you watch Johnny's show, Take Me Out to the Podcast, I never agree with Johnny. So I'm going to go with the Padres, but everything Johnny said is accurate, where the Padres do have more question marks than the Dodgers have. But I think if everything clicks, I think the Padres will have the better staff. But going on to what you need to win a World Series, a good pitching staff. But we're going to talk about the World Series now. Johnny, who right now is your World Series favorite?
I think it has to be the Dodgers. I do have a Clayton Kershaw jersey hanging up in my living room, so I can't bet against the guy. Is there going to be some World Series fatigue? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I know nothing. I'm a stupid idiot all the time, 24/7. Johnny Jackson is a moron. That's all you need to know. I'll put it on the screen right now. But I can't bet against the Dodgers. They didn't get worse. They definitely did not get worse. And the only team that I can think of that's a real contender that got significantly better over the offseason is the Padres. But they were still a little bit under. And they also lost Kirby Yates. That is a huge loss. Is Trevor Rosenthal officially back? Is he still a free agent?
He's still a free agent. The Yankees fans want them to sign him, but there's not enough money for him. But
right now, February 8th, I don't think the Padres really hold a chance. I mean, the White Sox are nasty, Twins are nasty. A team that I think if they really get one more pitcher somehow, use some devil magic. The Oakland A's, they're pretty good unless they trade Matt Chapman, which is rumors. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But if Oakland gets hot, that could be a good team.
They could be a good team. Could you imagine the two best third basemen in baseball get traded in the same offseason? That'd be a little crazy.
No, Anthony Rendon never got traded.
Hey, that's wrong. We'll get into this on Thursday on your show, but you're wrong.
That's wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah, you're wrong.
You think Matt Chapman's the second best third baseman in baseball?
Yeah.
Listen. We'll talk later.
We'll talk on your show. Johnny and I will scream at each other for 30 minutes, and it'll be fun. Ross, who is your World Series favorite at this current moment?
Listen, I got the Yankees. They got Judge. They got Stanton. If I can have a quick story, my grandfather for his honeymoon, he told my grandma, "Hey, we're going somewhere nice. Don't worry about it. Have a great honeymoon." This was 67 years ago. They went to St. Pete for Yankees spring training after they had their honeymoon. So I'm going Yankees all day. Let's go Yankees.
I am a big fan of that story. If I wanted to be full homer, I would also go Yankees, but it's hard to bet against the Dodgers. They have an all-star team for a roster. I mean, top to bottom, it's disgusting.
Max Muncy, Super Bowl commercial star. That one turn on third base looked great. Yeah. Looked absolutely phenomenal.
And they got my boy Mookie Betts, and I love Mookie Betts, and I'm so happy he's not a Red Sox anymore.
So you can finally say that.
Yes, so I can admit that I love Mookie Betts. Same thing with Xander Bogaerts. I like him, but I can't admit that I like him. So if you're watching this, I didn't just say that. Yeah, let's go into some sleepers. I know Johnny said the A's are his sleeper. But Ross, who right now would be a sleeper pick? Who's someone that no one's looking out for?
I think I got to go with the White Sox. Yeah, I mean they're a young team. They're going to hit well, and they have a good rotation of pitchers. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago makes some noise, but at the end of the day, they are a sleeper. I don't know if they can contend with a team like a Yankees, like a Dodgers, but I think they got a good shot to surprise people. So I guess we'll see this season.
So I'm with Ross. I'm gonna stick in that division. But I'm gonna go with the Twins. I mean, they've kind of been quiet, but they haven't been quiet at the same time. The Twins are weird. They're making good moves. They signed J.A. Happ, which I think is a terrible signing because I think J.A. Happ isn't good. But that's a little Yankees PTSD right there. But they got Nelson Cruz back, and the boomstick just seems to get better with age, and he's crazy. So I'm gonna go with the Twins. I think they might be able to compete with the White Sox. If anything, they'll get a wild card. And yeah, no, Twins going to the World Series maybe. Johnny, what say you?
If the okay. I'm a big Jose Barrios guy, but I don't think he can like lead a pitching staff. Not because he isn't good. He is. It just is been proven when he has someone there with him who's either like a really strong 2 or like a very strong 1. Barrios is nasty. But I think they need one more like really stud guy because like Rich Hill isn't going to lead a rotation. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't have the durability. He's like 30 million years old.
Same
Great dude. Great dude. Love it. Dude, Hap is like, let's see. Okay. I could throw this water bottle at Jorge Polanco's face and it would probably hit him, right? Could J.A. Happ do that?
No.
I don't know.
No. I mean, I just remember there was a double header this past season where Happ pitched against the Phillies. And like every pitch, and like for some reason the Phillies only had righties in their lineup. Every pitch was just the left-hander's batter's box, same spot every time. He walked like 3 straight batters, and it was like, what is wrong with you? Like you're supposed to throw strikes, you're starting pitcher. So
remember when they opened Devi for freaking J.A. Happ?
Hey. We don't speak about that. They should have let Devi pitch. If they let Devi pitch, the Yankees win that series, and the Yankees go to the World Series, not the Rays.
Brian Cashman always makes the best moves. Aaron Boone, the best manager in baseball. Aaron Boone.
I'm not a
Yankees are losers. They will continue to lose. We're gonna go another decade. We're gonna go another decade without a Yankees championship.
Oh no, we're getting one in 2-3 years.
What if half the league just like dies?
No, we got Jason Dominguez, bro. Next Mickey Mantle.
Oh, dude, that
next Mike Trout.
Side note, I get 30 seconds to speak on this. It's 12. Okay, comparing a prospect, an 18-year-old prospect who has not played professional baseball yet, to Mike Trout and Mickey Mantle, that is absolutely absurd. Why would you put that much pressure on him? It's absolute. Why? We have not seen him play. We've seen him play like 3 professional games in like the Dominican Summer League. Could he be a good major league player? Yes. If he turns into a Brett Gardner type, that is a wonderful career. Any career that makes you to the major leagues, any sport that gets you to the top level, that is a wonderful career. There's nothing to be ashamed of for that. But comparing him to Mickey Mantle with how like awful the Yankees are, Yankees fans are, that's terrible. You're setting the kid up for failure. Please, just. I wish nothing but the best for Jason Dominguez.
I saw that and I was like, don't do that to him, because half of the Yankees fan base is like the worst fans in baseball. And like, I'm a Yankee fan. I know they're pretty bad. Like they're going to kill that kid if he's not Mike Trout. And the odds of him being Mike Trout are that. So MLB, please don't do that to anybody again. But shifting focus to the NBA, the trade deadline is almost here, Ross. My Knicks made a move. They got Derrick Rose back for a 2nd round pick and Dennis Smith Jr. It's not a move I love. It's not a move I hate. I think you should be giving IQ those minutes, but it's something. What is a trade you think should happen to boost the team to make a playoff run?
Let me put on my analyst glasses, also my seeing glasses that I should definitely be wearing at all times. I think Drummond to the Nets is almost a lock at this point. I think they need help in the paint. They already have Jared Allen in Cleveland. They don't need another center that's just taking up minutes from the young guy. Listen, 4 years ago, you could look at Drummond. He was almost a 20-20 guy on some nights. He was a sensational rebounder. Now his offense is questionable at best, but he can get rebounds. And that team needs that help in the paint. They have Durant at the 4, and although he is 6'11", he is not a rebounder. That's not what he's there to do, which is obvious because he's there to be one of the best players on the planet and get points and do other things he needs to do. I think Drummond to there is a lock. I think a lot of players are going to be moved. It's NBA trades are very wonky, at least trade season, because you're going to hear a million different rumors, and there's a chance that 0 of them happen and no one gets traded. But then there's a chance that it could be like, I forget the exact season where there was a million trades the night before. Whatever my senior year of high school was, that was 2016, 2017. You hear 9,000 trades 10 minutes before the deadline. It's going to be exciting because there's a lot of people that might be moved, which is just how the trade deadline is. There's 2-3 people that are like, all right, they're going to be moved. Where are they going? Then you got about 10 to 15 people where it's like, maybe, we don't know. We got to see. So I think Drummond's a lock. I think Lonzo being moved is a lock. Where he's going, questionable. He wants to go to Chicago, right? What do I think that'll do for the team? Not so much. I think it just brings more young talent, which is good, right? Maybe to Toronto because I think they're trying to move on from Lowry. There's a lot going on. That's simple to say, but there's some blockbusters that could happen. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
So I want to come back to you with the Drummond to the Nets thing. The Nets don't have draft capital. So what do you think the Nets would have to give up to get Andre Drummond? Because they traded all their picks seemingly to Houston.
Yeah, it might have to be a 3-team trade where maybe they give up a young player and then get a pick from somewhere else and maneuver. NBA trades are very wonky. We could have 4 or 5 people, and you only got to move 1 or 2 players, right? Drummond's not worth too much. I'm trying to think of the Nets roster off the top of my head because they've traded so many people in the past week that I know
they just signed him on Shumpert, but that's
just not, yeah. I'm sure they'll be able to find out and find a way to maneuver it because it's not like they're trading for a Beal or someone where they'd have to give up a name. They just got to find 1 or 2 young players, find a third team to maybe put in a second-round pick. I think that's all he got traded for to Cleveland for was a second-rounder, maybe a player, if I'm correct. They'll find out a way to do it. These GMs are smart. There's always a way to maneuver.
So, Johnny, I want to come to you now. What's a trade that you think should happen to give a team that boost before the playoffs?
Okay, hot take. Nothing to go on. This is not financial advice. Yada yada yada. Bing bang bing bang. Tyler Hero to Philadelphia. Why Tyler Hero to Philadelphia? Because Ben Simmons is 6'11", and he should not be at the point. He can facilitate. He's good at it. He can finish. Him shooting is worse than me shooting, and that's saying something. Ben Simmons put him at the 4. Tobias Harris moved to the 3. Tyler Hero at point. And if Tyler Hero can shoot. So even if he's not the main facilitator, having Tyler Hero on your roster and having Ben Simmons to guard like amazing power forwards, like an Anthony Davis, like a Zion that he could potentially see in the playoffs, like you need something. And Tyler Hero with his little face, that would be great in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going, if Tyler Hero goes to Philadelphia, they're going to the finals. Are they going to win? Probably not. Tyler Hero to Philly makes some finals contenders.
Hey, Heat fans would not trade that man for prime Michael Jordan. So they're going to be coming. They're going to find your address. Heat fans, I'll give you Johnny's Twitter. Tweet at him.
On my way.
Yeah, Ross, what do you think about that? You guys going to give up Tyler Hero?
Do I think we're going to give up Tyler Hero? I'll give a 0.01% chance. But as far as the Philly, I think we got to deduct that by about 100 more zeros. He's not going to Philly. Johnny, I love the enthusiasm. I'm not going to lie. I love it. And at this point, I kind of want it to happen just so you could come back here and tell me. But listen, the only way I could see us giving time, I'm gonna play some devil's advocate in sake of Johnny. We have a slow start, right? We need to shake it up. What's shaking it up more than trading our best young asset to Philly for JJ Redick, just 1-for-1? Get a wily veteran in our team. It's not like we have a million veterans, so we need 1 more. So I
have Andre Iguodala. He's the best player to have ever played ever.
Speaking of Iguodala, we're almost definitely giving him up in any trade. Him and Olynyk can be part of any 2 trades just simply because they cost $1 million and they're not worth it.
Kelly Olynyk is so bad.
Kelly Olynyk was going ham yesterday against my Knicks. I was so upset.
Oh, what the one game a year? What did he do? Rub a genie lamp before the game?
He was just posting up in the corner, just nailing threes. I was like, bro, can you relax? I kind of want the Knicks to win.
With the little 2 motion.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Skadunk every time.
I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, does he or does he not look like the big summer blowout guy from Frozen?
I think you missed me with that reference, Johnny. I'm not gonna lie. That one went right over my head. I don't think I've ever finished Frozen.
You've never okay, never mind. No.
Sorry. No, don't hang up the Zoom call. We have more basketball.
We got more basketball to talk about. But I'm gonna go with my trade. I think the Clippers need to upgrade at point guard. and the Hornets need to give the keys to LaMelo. So trade for Devontae Graham. Go get you a point guard because Pat Bev's not going to cut it in the playoffs. I don't think he can't score. He's all defense. So yeah, go get Devontae Graham from Charlotte. Let him play the point, and boom,
Yeah.
the Clippers might be able to contend.
Same way for the Clippers. I think they might make a push for Kyle Lowry. I think at this point, giving Fred VanVleet that much money is essentially saying, hey, Kyle, we don't need you, but we're going to pay you. It's very much as the old D-Wade contracts where it's like, we can't get rid of you because you're Dwayne Wade, but like we know that you're not worth this. And then obviously, eventually Pat Riley was like, all right, you're actually not worth any of this. And then he banged it. But that's here nor there. I think they give up a Lou Will. How much do you value a 35-year-old point guard? Not that much, but if you're trading him for Lou Will, who is probably around 35 also, it might be worth the move. I mean, the Clippers are a short-term team. It's not a young team that's building up. It's win now. If you're in a win now mindset, it might make sense to go for Lowry. And although it would be difficult for Toronto to trade him simply because of the nostalgia factor, and the logistical factor, it makes perfect sense to me that he gets shipped off. They have VanVleet. They don't really need him. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting trade deadline.
Yeah, there's rumors flying around everywhere, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen. So a name that's been brought up, Ross, is Zach LaVine in Chicago. Do you see Chicago moving him, or do you think they'll hold on to him?
I think they'll end up holding on to him. That's all they have left as far as young talent. I mean, they have Laurie. He's a little bit inconsistent. I think they might build. Like I said, Lonzo might go there. It's not the best pairing in my opinion, but I think they end up holding LaVine. I got to see what the market is for him at the time. You got to see what you could get for him. Is it really worth? They could stack more draft picks. That is possible, but I think you got to keep at least one young talent on your team that you could build around for the future. And look, listen, it's not the best organization, but it is Chicago. It is the Chicago Bulls. There is still a legacy play there. I think he ends up staying. But a trade I did almost forget to mention this is the one I want to happen. If there's any trade I want to happen, it's this one. I think it's time. Bradley Beal's not leaving, which has been surprising me for weeks now that he said that. Because I would have bet he's going to Miami. That was my pick for months and months now. But there's another guard on that team that might be traded. And his name is Russell Westbrook.
I've never heard that name before, Ross. Please explain.
You have it. Yeah, I don't know. R-E, I think there's 2 L's. Let me look. Yeah, 2 S's, 2 L's.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Listen, man. I'm a Heat fan, but I'm also a devout Luka Doncic stan. I think it's time for the Russell, Luka, Kristaps big three to pair. It makes perfect sense to me. Mavericks are not doing what they need to do. I'll read the trade package because I made it earlier to make sure it fit. I try to come prepared once in a while to the show.
Attaboy.
I try. So in exchange for Luka, they give up Richardson, Brunson, Powell, James Johnson, a first rounder and a second rounder. Right? Josh Richardson, a great young player, but has been seemingly since he left Miami only going slowly on a decline. He had an okay season with Philly in his 1 or 2 seasons there. Hasn't been it. Brunson's a good young point guard. At the end of the day, what makes the Mavericks having a rough season is you can double Luka. It's so easy to double Luka because Kristaps has been injured, and who's their third best player?
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Josh Richardson. Like Dwight Powell. At the end of the day, you could double Luka with very little worries of, who's going to dominate me? Kristaps with one knee, who's been playing 10 games this season maybe? No, you need a Russell. Although Russell, it's amazing. When Russell's having a bad season, you know what he's averaging? 29-9 on 40% shooting. So I will add that caveat that is not very efficient. They have a great coach. They have a great organization that's always willing to spend money. And they have Luka Doncic. This trade makes sense to me, right? It also makes sense for I don't know why Washington won't trade. Maybe Beal really wants to stay there. I find it hard to believe. I thought he was just saying that to save face. Washington should blow this team up. I don't get the trade. I didn't get the trade earlier to get rid of Wall for Westbrook. What did you do? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? I don't like teams that like to be average, and this is right at this where you'll be like the 13th pick in the lottery every year. You don't want to be the 13th pick in the lottery. Don't do that. Tank or be good. And I think it's time to tank. So that's my big thing. Never forget, there's 3 things you can believe in: death, taxes, and Pat Riley doing some crazy trade right before the deadline. So if the Miami Heat go for someone, it's going to be Oladipo, or they also might push for Lowry. I'll just throw that out there before we end.
So I want to stop you right there with the Mavericks talk. I need the Mavericks to be bad. I'm a Knicks fan. The Knicks have the Mavericks first round pick this year. So I need them to, I want 2 lottery picks because I don't think the Knicks will make the playoffs. So give me 2 lottery picks. So Mavericks, don't trade for Russell Westbrook. Don't do it. You didn't hear Ross say that.
He did. Yeah, he
Ross
did.
never said it.
I did.
Ross,
Fine.
I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you. We're gonna move to MVP talk now. Right now, Ross, who is your MVP favorite?
LeBron James. Johnny, what do you have to say to this? Because I don't. It's LeBron James. What does he have? 28,
honestly,
27?
so for the NBA MVP, okay. LeBron's obviously, greatest player of all time. But you know who really deserves the NBA MVP?
Tyler Hero.
Marcus Smart.
All right,
Why?
so
All right, folks, that's our show. Goodbye.
No, it's Joel Embiid. I'm still on the Joel Embiid hype train. But I do love Marcus Smart. I do have to drag his name in anytime I talk NBA. Love the man to death. Absolutely amazing. Marcus Smart. Listen,
that's
buy his jersey.
that is
Buy
the
his
oddest
jersey.
player I have ever heard someone have an
Hey,
obsession.
hold on. So look, Marcus Smart, when he played at Oklahoma State, there was a tournament at Disney when I lived in Orlando. Me and my dad went, and after they played, there was like another. I think it was Michigan State and like Santa Clara playing after, and Marcus Smart came out, and he had an hour-long conversation with my dad and I watching the first half of the Michigan State
Why do
game.
you know everybody?
Marcus Smart.
Alex
Marcus Smart is the
Funderburke knows
coolest dude ever.
everybody. I love Marcus Smart. He's
He's
great
awesome.
guy.
I love
Absolutely
Marcus Smart.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right,
love
yeah.
him.
I love Marcus Smart too. Apparently.
Marcus Smart is a cool dude. I'm with it. Marcus Smart for MVP. But you both got the answer wrong. It's Nikola Jokic. He's 7th in the league in scoring, 6th in the league in rebounds, 5th in the league in assists, and 2nd in player efficiency rating.
Also
Nikola
second in the
Jokic.
league in MVP. He's gonna come in second.
No,
That's my hot take.
You got to give it to LeBron. I'm sorry, man. This is 18.
Well, hold on, but the thing is though, LeBron is only top 10 in one category, and that's assists. So if we're gonna do that, it's got to be Jokic. He's top 5 in everything but rebound.
My hot take is it's gonna be Joel Embiid 1, Jokic 2.
It's not a bad take. It's not the hottest take.
No,
Marcus
that's not
Smart-
a hot take, Johnny.
Yeah, Marcus
It's not a hot
Smart
take.
boiling. It's on the pod. Like that.
You saying Marcus Smart, that was a hot take.
Marcus Smart is the greatest player to have ever touched the basketball.
No, that's
history.
Emmanuel Quickly. Let's get your facts straight. It's Emmanuel Quickly.
Oh, you want to talk about facts? Okay, Mister. My dad had an hour-long conversation with Marcus Smart. Yeah, because he's the greatest player ever. You're lucky.
He's really cool.
You're lucky he graced you with his presence.
Marcus Smart was really cool. I love Marcus Smart. I'm a Marcus Smart stan, but he's missing the next 4 weeks with the injury. He can't win
Doesn't matter.
MVP.
Doesn't matter. He'll score 100 points.
No, I changed my pick. I'm going Marcus Smart MVP. And most
Okay, hold up. We'll all go Marcus Smart. Marcus
We'll
Smart
go
for
Marcus
MVP.
Smart.
Marcus, you're definitely watching this. We got you, dog.
Big man.
What?
It's all him. It's all Marcus. It's Marcus all day.
all Marcus. This
All
is
Marcus.
this is now
Hitting
a
the
Marcus
Marcus.
Smart show.
Hitting the Marcus.
Yeah, hitting the Marcus. Yeah. Especially remember when his senior year at Oklahoma State, he went in the crowd and punched somebody because they told him
He was hitting the Marcus.
Yeah, it was Marcus Smart's the GOAT. Yeah, but that's all the time we have for today. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. Stay with me. We got a rant coming up. I'm going to go off about Tampa. Yeah, stay with us.
Good morning, fellas, except for Andre.
KG in the building.
James Harden is a stat pack.
That is not, you're right.
He's the best scorer.
He has 120 straight points now.
Bro, 120 straight points out. He doesn't back.
Alright, let's do this. Let's get down to business, guys.
He's like Russell. He still got Aaron Gordon, PJ Tucker, and them boys. Come on now.
What about Carl?
Tom Brady is his son.
Facts.
I think it's kind of special though.
What? What are you talking about, man? Crazy, man. Don't ever say that. This is your dad,
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. We had a great show. I mean, talking baseball with Johnny never gets old. And make sure to check out his show, Take Me Out to the Podcast, when it comes out on Thursdays. But I mean, great show. I mean, talking Super Bowl with Kennedy, Jeffrey, it was a great time. NBA with Ross too, fun time. I mean, we fell in love with Marcus Smart. What's not to love with that? But it's time for my rant. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I mean, it's something I've noticed since I moved to Tampa when I was a sophomore in high school. It's the city I call home when I'm not here at school. And my beef with Tampa isn't the city or the sports teams themselves either. It's their so-called fan base. As someone who's lived there for the last 6 years, I've come to learn that the majority of Tampa sports fans are either one, not Tampa sports fans first. They'll be the people that, they're a Steelers fan, but when the Steelers don't play the Bucks, they'll root for the Bucks. Or they're a Phillies fan, but when the Phillies don't play the Rays, they'll root for or when the Phillies don't play with the Rays, they'll root for the Rays. Or two, they don't care about the teams here until they're good. Now, I have no problem with liking another team more first. For instance, I'm a diehard Yankees fan, but I root for the Padres when they don't play the Yankees. My problem comes when they act like they were a diehard fan to begin with. Let's say, for instance, the Padres win a World Series this year. I wouldn't go around acting like I'm some lifelong Padres fan. I grew up waiting for this. No, I started rooting for the Padres 2 years ago when Fernando Tatis got called up. I let the actual fans have their moment, not Tampa people. They don't do that. They're everywhere right now acting like their team won it all, when in fact they're probably a Steelers fan or a Cowboys fan. But on to the second thing. They are by far the most fair weather fan base of a city I've ever lived in. And I've lived in many places. I'm a military brat. I've moved around. The only team here in Tampa that has a mildly consistent fan base is the Lightning. And even then, meh. The Rays never have people at their games, and they couldn't even sell out World Series games when they made it in 2008. But boy, are they going to go around telling you how proud they are of their Rays that they won the AL pennant this past season. Now with the Bucks, people from, where I went to high school are claiming them as their team when they had never mentioned the Bucks once before this football season. Now, let's go look at a different city who hasn't had any recent success, like Cleveland. The Browns have some of the best fans in all of sports, win or lose. They ride or die with their team no matter what. And if you don't want to look at Cleveland, let's go to New York. Let's go talk about the Knicks. For all my life, they have been terrible, and not once have I ever considered jumping ship because they're bad. The Knicks have some of the most passionate fans in basketball, in sports, in anything. But if you want to say, Alex, you know what? You're a Knicks fan. You're too biased. Don't talk about them. I won't. Let's talk about a team I don't like, the Mets. The Mets have some of the best fans I've ever interacted with ever. No matter how many times they are given a reason to leave the Mets and abandon them, they don't. They stick around through thick and thin. No matter how bad the Mets are, that Mets fan base is going to show up to games. They're going to be loud on social media. And no matter what, they're going to believe in their team. But not Tampa. Someone on Twitter has said that now a lot of Bucks fans will have to go learn who Mike Alstott is. And if you don't know who that is, it's a legend. That's a legendary fullback. But their quote-unquote fans probably don't know who he is. Now to the 10, 15, 20, diehard Tampa fans that I know, this isn't about y'all. Y'all are dope. Celebrate your hearts out. You deserve this. I'm pumped for you. I talked to a couple of my friends last night who are legitimately Bucks fans, and I'm thrilled for them. But to the other 95% of you who only care about Tampa when they win, you're the worst type of fan. You're the reason I always say Tampa doesn't deserve pro sports. Now, that's it for our show. Come back next week. I'll be back with another rant and more great topics for you guys. Stay tuned. Be easy.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real.